I don't I don't even know what to say about this one, guys. So obviously from the title you can tell we're reviewing the Zyuohger movie. I did this because you guys requested it. I'll gladly do videos you guys request, but what did I just watch? First of all, let's start with the fact that it's something that Tokusatsu regularly does. It's called a movie, but it's 30 minutes long. It's not movie length, so everything is very quick and very condensed. Also, none of it made sense. Like, here's the thing. I'm not trying to hate on Zyuohger. Like, I feel funny every time because Zyuohger's like, it's not a bad season, but I feel like every time I do a video, I'm saying a lot of negative about it, and it's not like, let me rephrase. Zyuohger's not an atrocious season, but it's not a good season. I don't want to call it a bad season, but at the same time, like I said, I don't want to say it's not a bad season. I'm very conflicted on this season, and this movie is just the epitome of bad Zyuohger storytelling. And it's funny because this came out the same week, or rather it didn't come out, but I'm finally reviewing it the same week as we got the clip show episode, and I complained about the clip show episode, excuse me, in Zyuohger, and this was somehow worse. So much didn't make sense, and it bothers me so much. So let's see, where do we begin? First of all, let's start with the general story. There are a bunch of Juman trapped on Earth. That's not Bird Larry or the Zyuohgers, and they have formed a circus. They've gotten by pretending to be humans in animal costumes performing at this circus. That's how they get by and make their living. Couple things on that. A, that's kind of a big deal. The fact that there are other Juman in such a huge quantity. There are so many of them on Earth. B, what doesn't make sense is they're traveling in this giant tent spaceship. They're performing in this giant tent spaceship, but they somehow have no correlation to the bad guy. It's referred to in this movie as the big tent being the bad. I don't remember his name. It was like Dorimido, something like that. It was Circus Charlie. I don't know his name. I don't care. The ringleader. We'll call him that. So the ringleader, he's not actually a part of the circus. Like, when I first saw previews for this movie, I thought, oh, this man has been to Zhuland or has found other Juman. He's captured them and forced them to perform in the circus. Because, I mean, that doesn't sound like the most amazing plot, but honestly, I don't think it's a bad premise, because when you have an animal-themed Sentai, I think Circus is actually kind of an interesting, type of villain, because again, it's, captivating animals, and it's, people argue that a circus isn't good for animals. That's not the point, but again, I think it makes a good opposition to an animal-themed Sentai. And again, there's just so many things weird with this movie, because, like I said, they're performing in the aliens' spaceship tent. But then when he shows up to interrupt the whole performance, we find out they don't know him. They have no correlation to him. So you're like, why are you in his big spaceship tent? Why are you working, doing your performance in the tent, and you have no affiliation with this guy? You know what I mean? Like, something's not right there. I don't know. That's very lazy writing, honestly. We have one Juman that's supposedly slightly more important than the others, really not by much. He's a little kid. He was born here on Earth, so he's never seen Zhuland. His parents are dead, because all these movies seem to have orphan children, so why not? And he also has his best friend in the whole world, Cube Condor, because we gotta sell us that movie toy. So he has Cube Condor, and again, we don't know where Cube Condor came from. We don't know where any of these cubes have come from, as far as the series goes. But we see the ringleader comes in, and he kidnaps everybody. He's the circus-themed bad guy. He's gone through, he seems fairly scary, because again, he's gone through the universe, and he's destroyed entire planets just to use them as big fireballs, so you can have like a ring of fire, and he can do tricks through it. So again, he seems kind of like insane, like the Joker, again, to be ruining planets to put on a galactic scale circus. While yes, it sounds silly, at the same time proves that this guy knows a thing or two. And again, they give him such this big elaborate backstory. You really feel like he's this big powerful adversary. He even stole MOBAs from Genesis, but then he dies in the span of a half hour. So again, it's one of those things that just unfortunately doesn't work well with the fact that this is only a 30-minute movie. So now we get to the next part where he kidnaps all of, all the people inside. He magically has a button that gets rid of all of the adults out of the ship, and he keeps the Jumen and the children because his circus ship is fueled on the energy of children's tears. Why not? Sure, okay. So he keeps just the children, and all he wants to do is to make them cry so he can fuel his ship, which is not part of the plot at all, that he needs fuel for his ship. But again, to prove he's evil, you gotta kidnap children and make them cry. So the Zyuohger's then gonna go and start fighting him. They're gonna summon the cube animals and whatnot, and they're gonna form Zyuoh King, and they're gonna start fighting him, and he's gonna steal Cube Condor and utilize that. Now, one thing that's really weird is they decide to use Zyuoh King, but they use Zyuoh King, they stack 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and form Zyuoh King, kind of like we saw once before where they did Zyuoh Wild, and it was 6, 5, 3, 4. They had that extra height on him for some reason. They gave him both leg cubes. I don't know why they did that, but they did it again here. And ultimately, Cube Condor is going to come in, knock off Tiger and Elephant, and then force them to combine with him. And then when they're all inside of the cockpit, the ringleader is going to blast Tusk and Amu and ultimately force them, to pass out and therefore be able to defeat Zyuoh King with Condor Wild. Now, this is the only time we get to see Condor Wild. That was one of the things I was really, really psyched for. We see it in the beginning and then never again. We get to see Cube Condor do some stuff again, but it's very lackluster because his big power is illusions. I don't know why I air quoted that. His power is illusions, but it just didn't do anything for this series. Or movie rather. I don't get it. Ultimately, the ringleader is going to capture all the Zyuohgers. Yamato's going to get away in this big explosion. He's going to go flying into the lake. Now, while all this is going on, Mondo's actually part of this story, and I completely forgot that at this point in time, Mondo's in this story. Now, Cube Whale, I don't know where it falls on the timeline, but Cube Whale is not a part of the series just yet as far as this movie goes, but again, Mondo and Wild Tosai King are. So, all of a sudden, we cut to Mondo fishing, and he fishes Yamato out of the river, and I'm just like, yeah, all right, that's a good enough way to get Mondo in here. Like, why not have him from the beginning? I don't know. It just felt really weird. It's also weird because at this point in time, I'm thinking, okay, this is really cool. Sure, it's been a little rough at this point, but they got rid of Yamato. Now, all the Jumen are on the ship, and this is a really great moment for them because this doesn't feel, I've said this many times in Zyuohger, and I've been disappointed many times, and this movie is no exception. This feels like a very Red Ranger-centered series, and again, I don't have a problem with that. But a movie like this, where you have animal people, and the big boss bad guy is the ringleader of a circus, this is where the Animal Rangers should shine, and they don't do that. It pisses me off so much. This was the moment for Sayla, Tusk, Amu, Leo. I knew I was forgetting one. It's the moment for all four of them while they're on the ship to fight him and protect the kids and protect the Jumen and just have this nice grandstanding moment. And nope, Yamato rams Cube Eagle into the side of the ship, gets out and pulls like the whole hero card on his own. And I'm just sitting there like, why? Why did it have to be Yamato? And it comes back to the whole thing with Yamato. He's like, don't mess with this planet. And I'm sitting there like, I don't think he said he wants to. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he just wants to kidnap the Jumen and fuel his ship on the tears of children like a normal bad guy would want to do and just go back into space. He might have wanted to destroy the world. I don't quite remember if he did or not, but the bottom line is my point, regardless of if he wanted to destroy the world or not. This did not, from start to finish, just from concept of the idea of a circus villain, it did not feel like Yamato's fight, as I've said many, many times in Zyuohger. It didn't feel like Yamato's fight, but they gave it to Yamato anyway. Ultimately, they're going to get the ringleader out of the ship. They're all going to start fighting him on the ground using circus tricks, because why not? And then we're going to have Mondo use his fishing rod to pull the giant circus tent spaceship to the ground, because why not? And everybody is going to get out. Now again, it's weird to me because I don't get where this spaceship tent came from. That's going to bother me so much because again, we see the Jumen in it, so you think it's theirs, but then we find out it's his ship, and then he fuses with the ship, because why not? And he's going to form his giant monster form. They're going to form Wild Tosai King and use Cube Condor as a sword, cause why not, and destroy him. And then we see at the very end the Jumen just leave, and they take Cube Rhinos as their vehicle, because they're all like packing up next to Cube Rhinos. So it seems like they drive away with Cube Rhinos. All right, sure. Like, it's so weird. It's so weird. And they even say, you know, once we get all the champion symbols, we'll find you again, and we'll, you know, bring you back to Juland with us. But it's like, I don't know, there's no weight to these characters. None of these added Jumen characters were any good, in my opinion. I mean, there wasn't enough time to develop them and give them any depth. I mean, there was barely enough time for the plot of this movie, which was very, very flawed and very flimsy as it is. And, I mean, again, if you like Zyuohger, it's one of these things with these little 30-minute movies that we get every single year. If you like the season, you're gonna get more enjoyment out of the movie, out of just watching these characters interact with, you know, the villains and the good guys and whatever, and fighting. But again, not that I don't like Zyuohger, but again, I can't help but nitpick all these little details. So is it worth a watch? You know, some people will enjoy it. I personally think it's one of the weaker movies we've seen. And I've seen the Ninja Boys versus Girls, and that was pretty bad, but I don't know. This one I think is worse to me, because at least the Ninja Boys versus Girls was flawed enough where it was fun to make fun of. This is just flawed, but not flawed enough, excuse me, to be fun to make fun of. It's just like sits in this middle of just bad. So I don't know. I didn't care for this movie. I didn't think it was that good, but hey, maybe you disagree. Whatever your thoughts are on this movie, let me know in the comment section down below. Like it, hate it, anything in between. What is the worst Super Sentai movie in your personal opinion that you have seen? Because this is pretty close to mine, I would think. I'd have to think back to all the ones I've seen, but this one's no bueno. So again, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys soon with another video.